including session so that we can speak more to each other. Okay, and then at the end of after every session you have breaks between, and then you can take calls, you can do whatever you want to do. Okay, because I know that Taiwan, like many countries I go to, we are all about chatting on the phone and we have to use our phone. 明白吗？
明白。
好了。
那今天最重要就是希望各位就是可以提出问题，要有互动，那这样我们今天的课程才会有意义。因为如果今天只有讲师讲的话，那讲师也不会知道说你们的担心的点，然后你们不了解的地方在哪里。
Okay, this is Taiwan is good. 明白吗？
明白。
好了，这个是华裔，对吧？他讲不懂我，对吧？
对。
Okay. My Chinese is not bad. Okay.
我觉得不听我。
Okay, so I will speak slowly so that everyone can understand. So today the first thing we're going to talk about is sponsorship and understanding sponsorship. Okay?
那今天第一个我们会谈到说赞助，还有了解什么是赞助。
Sponsorship is very easy to understand. It's like if tomorrow you want to go out there and sell a space on your jersey.
那其实赞助可能就是说，假设明天我们要去谈怎么把我们球衣上面的空位卖出去，对
You need to have a plan.
那我们需要一个计划去卖出去这些东西。
So, but having a plan is just one part of it, but you need to have a good plan.
那其实有计划只是其中一部分，我们要的是一个良好的计划
Right? So today we're going to talk about creating this commercial plan. Okay? That's the first part that we'll cover this morning.
那我们今天第一部分会讲到说如何去写出一个良好的商业计划。
Okay?
那是我们今天第一部分。
The second part of our workshop will cover about developing creative rights package. It means how do you make this plan attractive so that tomorrow when you go out there and you talk to brands, they want to be part and parcel of your ecosystem.
那我们第二部分会谈到说如何要打造出一个有创意的包裹来谈这些计划。那您当各位出去来谈生意的时候，这些厂商会被你们这个计划吸引住，然后呢去融入你们的生态系统。
So yesterday when I arrived, I decided to walk. So usually when I go to different countries, I will go out and meet people, talk to people, and I will walk and see what the society is like.
那他昨天在抵达台湾之后，小谢也是在附近走一下。他到每个国家都会希望到这个国家之后到附近走一下，然后了解一下当地的生态，然后跟当地的人交谈，了解现在的情况。
So this society that you live in is a society that is engaged in a lot of day-to-day engagement between people, and a lot of them actually, I was talking to my colleague here, today that a lot of you spend a lot of time around convenience stores
那其实我们的
like 7-Eleven, Family Mart, right?
那我们其实台湾的社会就是习惯每天这样近距离的接触，然后特别是我们会在7-Eleven、在便利商店这些地方会很常会去这些地方有这些接触。
So you spend a lot of time in front of brands. So you actually see a lot of brands. But the point is, when you see a lot of brands, do you actually remember the brands?
那其实我们每天都看到很多品牌，那其实重点是，当我们看到这些品牌之后，有多少品牌是我们真的会记住的？
So it's the same message when your fans see you, when they come to watch you at the matches, when they see your team play and you have a brand on the jersey, do they see that brand and remember it?
那其实这问题在球衣的赞助也是一样。当球迷看到你球衣上的赞助品牌之后，他们有没有办法看到这个品牌？然后他们有没有办法记住这个品牌
Okay, so that is the difference that we will try to address today with that part of that part of the presentation.
那这就是重点，那就是我们今天想要在这第一部分谈到的东西。
The next part of the workshop we'll talk about is called branding and campaign marketing. Okay, so branding and campaign marketing. Branding, I'm going to cover in a very short, simple 3-slide presentation because it's actually a very heavy subject. But it's all about who you are, what you represent, what do people know about you. Okay? And campaign marketing is all about what you sell, right? For example, when we talk about what you sell, we can sell, for example, you sell your fans, do you sell your match day, do you sell your activities, do you sell after game activity, do you sell pre-game activity, all of this are about campaign marketing.
那今天我们第三部分谈到品牌跟行销活动的部分。那品牌部分其实是蛮多的，但是我们今天会尽快的在这个部分把它解决。那行销活动部分其实就在谈到说，你是谁，然后你在做什么，然后你希望带给球迷什么样的讯息。那我们可以卖的活动，包括说赛前活动、赛后活动，还有这些相关的东西。
So the last part of the presentation today we'll cover is social media, which all of you are very familiar because you do a lot of social media. And Taiwan has very large penetration in social media with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Every one of you actually tweets, every one of you has Facebook accounts. So it's about trying to use this tool to communicate and build your clubs.
那其实我们今天最后一部分就会谈到社群媒体的部分。那在台湾，其实社群媒体的渗透率是相当高的，大家每天都要用脸书、用推特。那重点就是要如何利用这些社群媒体，帮助你们的俱乐部发声。
Okay, so that's your agenda. So remember that this is what we're going to talk about today. But if you have other questions around all the issues that you may have specific to your club, address that as well.
那这是我们今天谈到大纲。那如果各位有遇到任何问题，特别是如果是你各位俱乐部现在遇到问题的话，就随时提出来。
So creating a commercial plan. When you talk about creating a commercial plan, right? The first thing you need to understand is if everyone in your club is aligned to the idea, everyone must see the same picture.
OK， 那当我们谈到这个 marketing 这个行销的部分的时候，我们第一个要问问题是，在俱乐部的每个人是不是真的都了解我们行销要做什么？那是不是每个人都有对这行销的目的有一个相同的愿景
？Because what you're talking about when you want to do sponsorship, you're talking about income generation. So income generation is sponsorship. Sponsorship is about then developing a commercial plan so that you address that.
OK， 那其实我们谈到这些的时候，都是在谈到一个很重要，就是如何创造收益。那这些都是我们要做的。
Okay, and then you ask yourself, does your senior management at the very top understand that what income generation is and what sponsorship is?
那最重要就是说，当我们的球队资深管理阶层是不是了解什么是财 产生收入，还有什么是赞助。
Right? Then you have to ask yourself, if your club has people who are going to be specifically responsible for marketing.
那俱乐部里面是不是有一个人专门负责行销？
And then you have to ask yourself, what is your club's vision and mission?
那我们俱乐部的愿景还有目标是什么？
For example, you say, for example, like Plateau FC, for instance, you guys are champions, and you every year your ambition or your vision will be to be the #1 club in Taiwan, right? So your mission will then be all the little things that you do to achieve and embody that vision.
那以大同来讲，大同目标可能是成为台湾的冠军。那我们的 mission， 我们的目标的部分就是要去如何去成就这些我们的愿景。我们的愿景是成为冠军，那我们的目标就是要如何去成就这个愿景。
So some of you are here today from women's football, which is currently like the hottest thing, that's going around in football today, right? Women's football has so much space at the moment. So the time is now that you take advantage to build enough commercial landscape for yourself, a commercial asset.
那今天有很多的是从女子联赛的俱乐部过来，那因为它是目前当今最火热的一个话题。那你们已经占有先机，现在就是说，如果你们要在这个先机领域抢得属于你的商业地盘，然后去创造出你们属于你们自己的空间。
If you use the period to build commercial real estate for yourself, that means you build a lot of asset for yourself at this time with women's football, because everyone's talking about women's football, because women's football is empowerment, inclusivity, it is gender equality, then you will use this to build a lot of inventory.
那女子足现在就是在讲究平权，然后还有一些例如说平权这些东西。那现在就是说，如何要利用这些东西去创造出属于。
And remember this, okay? Women's football is not just football. It is more than football.
那女子足球不只是足球，它有超越足球更深层次的东西。
So for those of you who are doing women's football, remember that. Okay, it's very important that you understand that you are doing more than football. So which means that you have an ability to actually grow the club, the DNA of everything that you're doing within that space.
那当各位在做女子足球的时候，要记住，你做的不只是足球，你要让你的俱乐部除了足球之外，更深的东西在你们俱乐部的 DNA 里。
The next thing obviously is you have to sort of like understand the vision and mission of your club. You have to know how that vision and mission is going to impact your club itself.
那要了解说我们的愿景还有目标会怎么样影响到我们的俱乐部。
Right? And then obviously, what does commercials and sponsorships and activation and sponsorships and fan activities going to contribute to the overall stature of your club?
那就是说要了解说我们的商业行为还有我们的球迷这些会如何影响到我们。
So these are things that you have to know first and foremost before you start creating a commercial plan.
那最重要就是说我要如何去创造出我们的这个商业属于我们的商业计划。
Right? So you need to have the ability to set direction and priorities. What is important for you? Where do you want to go?
那我们的目标是什么？那我们现在在哪个位置？
Right? So you need to have a strategy. So what is your strategy? So for each of your club, right? What is your strategy? What is the direction you want to go? Where do you want to go?
那最重要是策略，我们希望要到哪里？那我们要怎么到那里？
Because everyone has different priorities. You have different ambitions. So you have to ask yourself what that strategy is going to be, because that will make the difference in terms of what your end result will be.
那因为每个人的目标都有不同的优先顺序。那最重要是要问自己说，我们要怎么样去做到，最后会变成什么样子？
And everyone must be in the same direction. Everyone must go towards the same direction.
那大家都必须在同一个方向上，然后也必须往同一个方向。
This includes coaches, players, communication, IT. Everyone in the club must move in the same direction.
那包含教练、球员、IT 人员，还有包括说商业部门的人，大家都要往同一个目标去前进。
And we talked about alignment earlier, so it is very important everyone is aligned to it in such a way that everyone understands. If you set a priority, a specific priority, everyone must see that that is the priority. So everyone is aligned in the same direction.
那大家都是朝着一个方向前进。那当我们的 priority 优先程度顺序这些定出之后，大家必须了解说这顺序、优先顺序，然后往同一个目标前进。
And importantly, within your club itself, this must be communicated.
那在这些最重要就是说这些东西必须在我们内部必须要沟通。
So who is responsible for creating this commercial plan?
那谁要负责创造出这些商业，来写出这些商业计划？
Right. Obviously, we have the general manager, the commercial director, the head of marketing, the department staff, the president, the board. All of these people are responsible.
那这些总经理啊、商业部门的经理、行销部门的头头，大家都要负责，大家都有一样的目标，负责这些东西。
You also have to remember that you have stakeholders, right? Your stakeholders are your fans, your sponsors, yeah, right? The townships that you come from, they are also your stakeholders, right?
那会有利害关系的，包括说你的俱乐部、你的赞助商、你的所在城镇的市政府，这些还有球迷，这些都是你俱乐部里面的利害关系。
Because all of them are going to contribute to your overall direction because they are going to give you feedback and they are your stakeholders. They're going to tell you what they feel. If your fan does not feel comfortable with what you are as a club or what you're doing, that fan is not going to come back, and you need to ensure that your fan is valued.
那这些人都会给你回馈，都会成就你最后的目标。这里是例如说球迷来讲，如果球迷感到不高，这个活动感到不高兴，他们就不会再回来。所以大家都要随时要注意这些利害关系人的中间给你的回馈。
Always remember that anything that you do at your club, your fans must be at the heart of everything you do.
那当做这些事情，要记住一件事：球迷是最重要，球迷必须放在你的心中的第一优先。
The fans are your engines of your football club.
那球迷就是驱动整个俱乐部前进的引擎。
Remember that, in any successful club, if you look at any successful club around the world, that club will have a very successful fan base.
那在世界上所有成功俱乐部都有一个相当成功的球迷经营的基础。
And if you look at the clubs that are the most poorest or the weakest, they have the weakest fan base or the fan program.
那在世界上通常最糟糕性的俱乐部，他们的球迷经营还有球迷基础是最糟糕的。
Right? So if you sort of like think about it, like there are clubs in Asia, like recently there's a club over the last 6 years in Thailand that become very successful. They're called Buriram FC. And their success is built on the fundamental importance of the 12th man. And the 12th man is fans.
那近6年来最成功的是泰超的无影人联俱乐部。那他们最成功的关键就是他们的第12个，就是他们的球迷。
Right? Their most popular jersey that sells in the shop is jersey number 12.
那在他们商店里面卖最好的球衣是背号12号。
So every time when they release a new jersey, the jersey will be jersey number 12, and they will sell that.
那每一次球衣只要试出的时候，卖出去最快就是永远都是12号。
It's all about making the fan feel most important.
那最重要就是说让球迷感受到他们是最重要的一部分。
So on a scale of 1 to 10, right? You think about it, right? Does your finance department understand marketing?
那从1到10分来评分的话，你觉得你的财务部门了解什么是行销吗？
Do you think they understand marketing on a scale of 1 to 10?
那你觉得如果以1到10分来给分的话，他们真的了解什么是行销吗？
Right? Do you think your communications department understands marketing?
那公关部门了解行销吗？
What about your IT department?
那资讯部门了解吗？
Your coaches and players, do you think they understand marketing?
那教练跟球员了解什么是行销吗？
Right? What about HR?
那人资 知道什么是行销吗？
Because HR only sit in their office and they look about paying players or paying the staff, but do they understand the importance of marketing?
因为其实人资部门只会坐在办公室去算说要给球员多少，要给工作人员多少薪水。那他们真的了解什么是行销吗？
But what about the president and the club management and the executive board? Do they understand marketing?
那俱乐部的老板还有这些俱乐部的管理阶层，他们了解行销吗？
Right? So you have to ask yourself, because all of you are very important individuals in all of your clubs, because you need to be able to bring that message across and ensure that every part of this in your club, the finance, the communication, the IT, the coaches, the players, the HR, everyone understands the importance of marketing.
那最重要就是说，要这些部门要真的都了解行销的重要性。
If they do not understand it, then the failure is part of yours.
那如果他们不了解的话，那这失败就是各位的责任。
Okay? So, you have to ask yourself, while you're starting to create a plan, you have to ask yourself, where are you now? Where you want to be? How are you going to get there? And are you getting there?
那当我们在写商业计划时，要先问4个问题。第一个是我们现在在哪个位置，然后我们希望达到什么样的高度？那我们要怎么样达到这样的高度？那我们现在已经在这个高度上了吗？
So, in understanding this, where are we now? It's about doing an analysis of where your club is. Commercially, where are you? Right? You have to ask yourself, right? You identify your key stakeholders, you ask them questions, right? You need to understand your environment. You need to know exactly how you exist, right? Your key stakeholders are internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. The internal stakeholders are the people who work with you. How do they perceive your club? The coaches, the players, your staff. Then your external stakeholders, the fans that you sort of like play in front of, the brands that are sponsoring you, the media that come and cover it, they are external stakeholders. You need to understand them.
那第一个问题，我们现在在哪里的时候，我们要先了解，我们的利害关系，内部利害关系人、球员、教练，他们有没有，他们现在在什么位置？然后外部的利害关系人、球迷、赞助商这些，他们给了我们传递他们会给他们什么样的东西
Right. One of the most important external stakeholders are actually your competitors.
那其实最重要的外部关系人，其实是你的竞争者。
Your competitors, for example, you're a football club. Who's your competitor? The baseball clubs, the basketball clubs, right? The badminton clubs. They're all your competitors. They're your external stakeholders because they influence the commercial market that you exist in.
那对足球俱乐部来讲，什么是我们的竞争对手？棒球、篮球，甚至羽球都是我们的竞争者。为什么？因为他们会影响到我们俱乐部在商业市场上能够获得的东西。
Because when you go out and ask for money from a brand, right? For example, Yoshi Yogurt, for instance, you go and ask them. They have a fixed budget, but they have to decide: do they give the money to a football club, or do they give the money to a baseball club? Do they give the money to a badminton club? Where do they give the money to? That difference is going to come down to what you actually represent to them.
那对于赞助商品牌来讲，他们只有一笔固定的预算，他们必须要决定说，我要把这笔预算投注在足球、篮球、棒球或者是羽球上面。那什么会影响到他们投入的东西？投入的资源多寡，就是我们给他们看到的东西。
Right. So when you sort of like, once you have where you are now, position established, you can then think about where you want to be.
当我们了解我们现在在什么位置之后，接下来我们就要去想，我们希望达到什么样的高度。
Where you want to be is establishing your long-term vision, your long-term goals, your strategic goals.
那我们需要达到的高度，就是我们长期的愿景，我们长期的目标，我们希望在策略上达到什么样的目标。
You will use this information here to develop this direction.
那我们会用前面我们现在在哪里这一阶段我们分析得到的资讯来了解说，我们希望达到什么样的高度。
right? Then, from once you have this established, you will then say how you're going to go to that to achieve this.
当我们知道我们现在在哪个高度之后，我们现在就要去了解说我们要怎么样达到这个高度，那要怎么样达到这个目标
And then, how do you get there is all about tactics, right? Tactics means, for example, this morning I get up, my ambition today is that I want to be able to buy a car, right? So what do I need to do? I need to sort of like decide, I look at the market, what are the best cars in the market, what kind of objectives I want to achieve. I want to drive a fast car, a slow car, a family car. What kind of car do I want? Then based on that, I look at the market pricing, and then I decide on the car. Then I decide I need to go buy the car.
那例如说，今天早上我姐还想要买一台车，那我去看市场上有什么样的车，我想开比较好的跑车呢，还是说一般家庭用车之类的？那还有它的价格在哪里？然后我们利用这些东西来发展出我们的战略，最后决定出我们要买什么样的车。
So when I want to go out and buy the car, I have to decide, right? Do I go out and test drive the car? Do I just go out there and look at the car? So I have to have, or do I bring my friend to go with me to evaluate the car? So what is my tactic?
那我今天要去买车，我要去选择，我要试驾吗？还是我就是直接去看，或者是我要带着我朋友一起去看这台车？那这就是战略。
How do you get there is all about establishing your steps to achieving where you want to get to.
那这些就是要去了解说各个步骤，我们要怎么样达到我们希望达到的高度。
The next part of it is basically monitoring and evaluation. So whilst you're doing this, you have to ask yourself, are you getting there? If you paint yourself a objective that you're going to sort of like raise a new sponsorship project. For example, you're going to build a fan program, right? So you have to ask yourself, your ambition is to raise 100,000 fans this year. So over the next 12 months, your objective is to raise 100,000 fans. So here, are we getting there? It's about establishing what, are you doing the right things? Are you doing the right things to bring the fans to your Facebook, to your Instagram, to your different aspects? Are you bringing fans to the stadium? Are they registering with you? Are you collecting data? Are you not collecting data?
那我们假设我们今天目标是希望吸引10万球迷，那我们有没有？那他们有没有？我们有没有达到目标？他们有没有关注我们的脸书？有没有关注我们的 IG？ 那他们实际的进场，那我们在这之中，我们去收集相关的资料数据来，或者是我们没有收集这些资料数据。
Right. It always starts with the task list, okay? Your objectives, your action plan, your implementation plan. This is your tactics, right? You need to have budget. Any plan must have a budget, which is why it is very important that all of you must make sure your finance department understands commercial and marketing plans, okay? And then you have the monitoring and evaluation.
那我们会用这种任务表的方式来写出我们的目标、我们的行动计划，还有我们实际执行的计划。这个是预算，所有的行销具有预算，因为我们要让财务部门了解说我们的行销要做些什么，还有我们要怎么样的评估，还有去监控我们的成效。
So for example, right, as an objective, so you basically say your commercial, you agree that your commercial objective, all of you agree in your clubs what your commercial objectives are going to be, right? Then the objectives must be supported by all the key decision makers in your clubs. For example, the president, the board, the general manager, the head of marketing, everyone is aligned.
那当我们了解这些，大家都了解目标，所有的工作人员都了解目标的时候，大家都要在往同一个方向上去前进。
Right. So, for example, you say your strategic goal is to make the organization financially stable by developing your own sources of income.
那假设我们的策略是让我们俱乐部的财务稳定，然后发展出属于我们自己的收入来源。
Then you develop a marketing objective. And that objective will be to do this, say for example, you need to generate, for example, US $1 million in commercial revenue for the next 4 years.
那我们的行销目标就会是每年在商业上要获得100万美元的收入，在接下来4年的时间。
Then as all of you in your roles, you have to say, okay, 15% of that is going to come from television, 60% will come from sponsorship, 25% from other activities.
那我们就要去评估说，接下来这些要怎么样达成这100万美元的目标？15%要来自于电视转播权的收入，60%要来自于赞助商，那剩下25%要从其他活动来获得。
So obviously, this is an example, but this is what you need to get to in terms of establishing what it will be.
但是我们要开始去建立说，我们要得到这会变成什么样的结果？
Right? So what should be considered as objectives?
我们在考虑我们的目标时候要考虑到什么样的因素
Right? So sponsorship,
赞助
that is a objective, right? Match day revenue, that is an objective, right? Merchandise and licensing, that's an objective. Broadcast sales, that's an objective. Broadcast sales today is split into digital, is split to live, delay, archive, near live, so there's different kinds of broadcasts, right? Public sector investment, for example, you partner with the Ministry of Health, that is an objective. Value in kind, which is VIK, that is an objective. So you need to ask yourself what your objectives are going to be in terms of creating that commercial plan.
那我们要先了解什么？我们的商业目标要考虑到哪些东西？赞助，比赛的收入，商品还有授权的收入，然后转播收入现在很多，包括说现场转播、delay live 啊这些转播，还有公部门的投资，还有实际物资的赞助，那这些东西都是我们要去考虑的。
So, when you have objectives, right? If you say you have 5 key marketing objectives, once you establish your marketing objectives, this is your roadmap. Your roadmap in terms of establishing, or achieving your objectives. But remember that all your objectives must be specific, must be measurable. That means you can measure what you're getting to. It must be agreed by everyone. It must be realistic. You cannot sort of like say, oh, we're going to raise $10 million of sponsorship over the next 4 years when you know that that's not possible. You cannot do that, okay? It must be time bound. You must have a period associated with it. You cannot have something which say, I'm going to raise $1 million, but within how long? So you have to have that. It must be ethical. It must be recorded. Means that it must be sort of like written down.
OK， 那我们要有什么？第一个，我们的目标要明确，然后可以估计。那在组织里面大家都觉得同意了，是要实际的，然后要有明确的时间，然后要合乎道德，然后同时大家都要记录下来。
So, objectives. You have a strategic goal. You talk about strategic goal, then develop your marketing objectives. Then you have your timeline. Then you establish who is responsible. This is very important. Many clubs, when you go to them, they will say, do you have a strategic goal? Yes. Do you have a marketing objective? Yes. Do you have a timeline? Yes. How long? Who's responsible? And everybody look at each other.
那我们要策略目标，要行销目标，要时间，然后还有最重要就是谁负责人是谁。很多俱乐部都会知道他们的策略目标，那也知道他们的行销目标是什么。但是问到时间的时候，谁负责时间？每个人都没有人负责，没有一个人负责时间。
So you must have someone responsible. There must be one key person, someone to drive this.
那必须要有一个关键的人去负责去策动这一切。
And when you set your objectives, remember you must have a KPI. You must be able to measure it.
那当我们设定行销目标，就是要记得，我们必须要设定 KPI， 要有办法去衡量我们的目标。
喂，你好。Hello. Hi. Welcome. So if you sort of like come back and say, as an example of an objective, your objective is to grow game day revenue, your match day revenue.
那我们目标是要提高我们在比赛日的收入。
Right? So remember, firstly you have to ask yourself, okay, so that's your objective. So how much do you want to grow it by?
那当我们知道这是我们的目标，但是我们要问，我们希望它成长多少
？Right? So for example, we say, I want to grow my game day revenue. For each match day, you want to grow your revenue by 35%.
那例如说，我希望我们比赛日的收入可以成长35%。
And you have to agree this within the club.
那在这俱乐部里面，大家都要同意我们要在比赛日上我们的收入成长35%。
So it could be 10%, it could be 15%. I'm giving you an example of 35%. But that's your objective. Remember, you set objectives doesn't mean you set realistic objectives.
那这只是一个举例，你们可以自己设定15%、10%，但是要记住，你们可以设定目标，但是要设定一个实际的目标。
But do not set objectives like you say, I want to grow match day revenue by 5%. No. Okay? You must set yourself ambitious objectives. So you try to reach.
OK， 那要设定一个具有野心的目标，但不要设定说我只要我的比赛日的收入成长5%，要设定一个我们有野心，然后试着去达到的目标。
Right? So you have to always be ambitious about it, but be realistic.
我们要有野心，但是同时我们也要切实际。
Okay, so this must be specific, measurable, agreed amongst everybody, realistic. It is time bound. So you ask yourself to grow 35%, right? By December 2019. So it's time bound.
那我们刚刚讲到说要明确，要可以衡量，大家都要同意，那也要切实际。那到第5个的时候就要有时间，那所以我们希望在2019年12月以前，让我们比赛日的收入成长35%。
Right? So by knowing that is your objective, so you know that now is the time to think about your commercial objectives. You can start thinking about it within your head, within your club environment, what your commercial objectives will be, right? So you create 2 of the objectives you would set within your club, right? So you have to ask yourself, what objectives can I set? So you do this. We'll come back to do this exercise at the end of today, okay? So you just sort of like remember it, because I think we'll go through the subjects first and then we'll do this at the end of the day.
那我们会在今天最后的时候，我们来试着来去写出说我们自己的目标，还有我们的任务表这些。
But your commercial plan, say example of the commercial department objective of a club is your strategic goal: increase annual marketing and sponsorship revenues to, say for example, $200,000 by 2019. You need to have marketing objectives, timeline. You must have responsible people indicated inside here, who's responsible, and you need to have KPIs.
那我们的策略，假设我们策略目标是在2019年以前，然后让我们的年度的行销还有赞助的收入成长，那我们要有目标、时间、谁负责，还有最重要的要怎么样去衡量这个目标。
Right? So, we talked about earlier, the objective was to grow game day revenues by 35%, right? Remember, you need to have a timeline. So you need to have something like this, a commercial plan, and you sort of like say, great game day revenue, I'm going to grow it by 35%. I'm going to increase sponsorship revenue by $1 million per annum. I'm going to increase social media followers by 30% on all my platforms on an annual basis. I'm going to grow my broadcast revenue. If you don't have broadcast revenue at all, then you develop broadcast revenue. How do you do that? You create unique content. We'll come to that later.
那我们刚刚前面讲到这样目标之后，就要有策略之后就要明确目标，例如说我们的比赛日的收入要成长35%，然后增加每年要增加100万的赞助商收入，然后要增加我们社群媒体的追踪者每年要增加30%，然后还有 电视转播收入，但是如果没有转播收入的时候，我们要怎么去创造这个收入？这我们之后今天稍后会谈到这个问题。
Right, so you have timelines. You have to establish timelines. You have to establish who's responsible. Right? Then you have to sort of say, what is the measurement? So if you say, I'm going to grow game day revenues by 35%, my timeline is to achieve it by who's responsible? Head of ticketing and hospitality, right? Game day review. So after every game day, you're going to go and check. You're going to look at it and say, what went right, what went wrong, what you need to do to improve.
那以第一个要在比赛日时打比赛日说来讲，我们就要定下明确的时间。那谁要负责？例如说票务部门负责人要负责这些。那最后还要去每一场比赛衡量，说我们到底有没有达到这个目标。那我们有没有做什么地方做对了，什么地方做错了
？Right. So if you say you're going to increase sponsorship revenue by say $1 million a year or $100,000 per annum, right? So your timeline is to achieve this by the 1st of January of 2020. The person who's responsible, for example, is going to be the commercial director. What is your KPI? Your KPI is to check, firstly, what your commercial architecture is, or whether you sell out your sponsorship architecture at the agreed value so that you can achieve that.
那第二个来讲说，我们要增加我们每年赞助商的收入，在20，那我们时间点要定下在2020以前。那谁要负责就是商业部门的经理。那怎么样去衡量有没有达到这个目标呢？就是说，我们卖出我们当初讲好的赞助商分级结构的这些东西。
So if you talk about increasing social media followers by 30%, so that's your objective, right? And you want to achieve this by the 1st of July, right, of 2020, right? Who's responsible? Say, it could be head of marketing, or it could be someone who is head of digital within marketing, right? And then you basically say the KPI will be every quarter you're going to measure this.
OK， 那第三个来讲的话，就是说我们要在每年要增加所有社群媒体平台上面的追踪者达到30%，要在2020 7月以前达成。那谁要负责？可能是可能是行销部门的经理要负责，可能是其他部门可能是例如说网络部门的经理要负责。那要怎么样去衡量有没有达到这个目标呢？就是我们每4个月就要去追踪一次。
So we talked about broadcast. So broadcast revenue, you want to grow this by X amount of money. You have your objectives, the timeline, who's in charge again, commercial director, and then you have to say your KPI will be by the number of views. For example, because now with broadcast, if everything's on television, then you have to ask yourself, what are you going to sell in terms of broadcast? Is it pay-per-view exclusive content? What kind of content you're going to develop? That's the first thing you develop. Then you sort of like work out who's responsible, your timeline, and you measure whether you're actually achieving that.
那以第最后一个来讲的话，就是说我们要增加我们转播收入，那我们要时间，那谁要负责？又再度是商业部门经理要负责。那要怎么样去衡量？就是说我们的收视人数有没有达到目标？那这些要怎么去做呢？例如说独家的内容这些的，要来达成这个目标。
Right? So once you have done your plan, you need to implement your objectives.
那我们在有这些计划的时候，我们要去实行我们的目标。
So you need to sort of like do implementation. So what are implementation? Implementation is your action plan.
那什么是实际执行？就是我们的行动的计划。
An action plan is like if you're going to go somewhere, how do you get there? That's it.
那所谓的行动计划就是说，假设我今天到某个地方，那我要怎么样到达那个地方？那这就是我们的行动计划。
And then once you have this established, you then take the vision statement, you develop your strategic ideas, then you sort of like know exactly where you are, and so you're going to go towards that.
那我们要有愿景的陈述、目标陈述，还有我们的策略上要怎么样达到，那就要把这些都记下来。
So, what are the benefits of having an action plan?
那我们有行动计划会带来什么样的好处呢
So we talked about earlier, remember earlier when I said you need to have someone who's responsible, someone who's going to manage this process.
那会有一个，我们前面讲过有一个负责，谁要负责管理整个过程。
So you instill clear responsibility. So there is someone who's going to drive this project. So if it's a head of commercial, head of marketing, there's someone who's overall in charge.
那就会有明确的负责人出来，谁要负责这一切。
You are able to do improved financial planning.
那我们可以去更加去改进我们的在财务上的计划。
Because finance will know exactly how much money you're going to bring in because you're working towards that based on the budget that you're going to spend.
那因为财务部门他们会这样才能了解说我们。
You can manage the time process.
那我们可以去改善我们时间管理的部分。
You have specific focus and you know what your motivation is. If you're going to raise your social media followers by 30%, that is going to be very specific. So you have someone who's actually working towards that. So it's motivation and focus towards a task.
那我们就会有个激励的动力，还有明确的目标去前进。例如说30%的社群媒体平台的成长，最终成长人数。
And you have department collaboration. We talked about it right at the beginning. IT, finance, communication. Everyone needs to be aware of what you're doing.
那就部门合作，我们前面讲到，网络部门啊、财务部门这些，大家都要通力合作。
Right. And with a plan, you empower your people.
那当有了这些计划之后，我们就可以赋予我们的工作人员实权。
It's very important, okay? Empowering people is, for example, if you are head of marketing or if you are like the commercial directors in the club, always remember if you have an executive working with you, you have to empower them. You have to give them the ability to go out there and do a task so that they can then perform it at their best.
OK， 那为什么给予工作人员权利或责任？因为假设你今天是行销部门或者是商业部门的经理一样，给予你一样，你底下工作人员有实权可以去达成、去执行这些目标。
It is unique because that's like all team sport, just like football. Okay, football is not one person doing the sport, but it is 11 people, and everyone is empowered to play a specific role in the game.
因为这是一项团体运动，就跟足球一样，每个人在团队中都要有自己的定位，那每个人都要有自己的权利去执行这个目标。
Right. So we have the action plans, the action itself, what you're going to achieve. We're going to increase social media by 30%. By when? Who's responsible? What's the measurement? Budget. Budget means how much you're going to spend money to achieve this.
那就是说行动计划，还有行动时间，谁负责，如何衡量能够达成目标，还有预算。
Right? So, like similarly, you would need to have a document that looks like this. What your action plans are. You create an asset register. You need to know what your assets are. Does everyone understand what asset means?
那例如说我们要增加我们每年的赞助商收入，那第一个我们要创造出我们的行动，就是要创造出我们的俱乐部的资产表。那什么是资产表呢？这里有个概念就是俱乐部的资产。
Your asset register is everything that you can commercialize in the club.
那这些就是所谓的资产，就是我们可以让在俱乐部里面可以商业化的东西。
You can sell your match days. You can sell all that little jersey sponsorships. You can sell the advertising space on your website. You can sell your game day actual experience. You can sell your halftime activity. You can sell pre-game activity sponsored by. You can sell post-game activity. A lot of people forget that at the end of the match, finish. No. If you create an experience for your fans, you then are able to do something which is pre-game, in-game, during game, post-game. So it is like, so remember today when you sell football today, remember you are competing with all kind of entertainment. You are competing with going to the movies, going to the mall to have an ice cream. You're competing with going to sit at home and watch Netflix. You're competing for that. So you need to have a rationale to exist.
OK， 那什么是俱乐部生态？就是说，我们可以卖球衣上的广告空间、网页上的首页广告这些东西，都是我们可以卖的。还包括说比赛日，那比赛日不只包含比赛赛前活动，还包括赛前、赛中、中场休息，甚至到赛后，很多人都忘记赛后活动。因为其实当球迷的一个进场经验是完整的，它是从赛前、比赛中、中场活动到赛后活动。那我们在卖这些东西的时候，我们都是在跟其他的娱乐项目竞争，例如说去看电影、去逛街。或是 Netflix 这些东西去竞争，所以我们要去了解我们现在有的东西。
I think these are good strategies for products that are already you already have something, or you already started. I work in advertising, and we already have a product. It's easier to increase the number of clients and increase the number of sales, whatever. But in Taiwan football, I feel that there is nothing. And I wish to learn how to create, because it's difficult. I go to find sponsors, there are no people in the stadiums. You invite maybe your friend, your girlfriend, and that's all the people that can. So this, I think is very useful, but when we are one step from, I wish to learn more about how to start this step.
Right, okay. Coming back to what you said earlier, that you said you have the advertiser, but you don't have. So this is about creating content, right? To create content, for example, as an example, I want to create a match day experience, okay? So you have to develop the match day. So what is the match day experience? The match day experience is if you go to an advertiser and sell advertising, it's static, it's one way, one-sided. But where is the engagement? You need to create engagement. An engagement where you create a conversation between a brand and a fan, and the fan then is able to coexist in the ecosystem of the brand. So which means, for example, I go to a stadium, I buy a ticket. But what does that mean? Watch a football? Or is it an experience? Are you selling experience? Or are you selling engagement? Or are you selling pure visual advertising? So it's an understanding of what you sell your brand. When you sell a brand, a sponsorship, you have to ask yourself, what do brands want? Do they want your fans? Do they want the football? Do they want the football team? Do they want the activities around the football? Do they want halftime? Do they want pre-game? Do they want post-game? Do they want on-air or on-ground?
I think most of the sponsors I have gone with, they expect to get something
in return. Yes.
Okay. But here, the revenues are very difficult to generate because with most teams, I think all teams, even Taiwan teams, don't have fans.
Right.
Go to the stadium, no fans, so you cannot even sell tickets.
Right, okay. So your challenge is fans. So we talked about earlier about establishing fans. So if the strategy is to go out there and find fans, so that's your strategy. Your big strategy is we want to build fan base by 30%. So what do you need to do to build fans, right? Why do fans come to football matches? That's the first thing you have to ask yourself. Or why are fans, the fans that we talk, why must I, okay, we go back 2 steps. You are the red line. You have to tell me why I need to be your fan. So what are you going to sell to me that makes me want to be your fan? That's your first objective. What are you selling? Do you understand? Because if you cannot know why you exist for the fan, because the fan has a choice. I decide if I want to be the fan of a football team, or the fan of a baseball team, or the fan of sitting at home to watch Netflix, or going to the mall. You have to give me the reason to to exist in your ecosystem. So you have to tell me, are you selling me football?
To be the Jewish or fans are only friends, girlfriends, family.
I understand. So, but you have to now throw all this away and start by establishing a commercial strategy as to why the fan must be your fan. Does everyone understand? Your fan does not have the right, you don't have the right that the fan must be your fan. A fan is the average human being. An average human being exists with many interests. Every day you wake up in the morning, you are an average person, right? When you wake up in the morning, you have many things that you would like to do, or want to do, or need to do. Watching football, supporting my club is one part of the many things that a person is going to do. So you have to sell to me why I have to be your fan versus going out to sit in a cafe. Forget about boyfriends, girlfriends, or whatever, because that's not the fan that you want. If you can sell to me the reason that I must be your fan, that means if you create examples, okay? Many years ago, I give you a real example. Crystal Palace Football Club. As of 2 days ago, does everyone know who Crystal Palace Football Club is? Crystal Palace is a football club in South London, okay? Their fan base, right, are considered the #1 fan base in all of Europe as of yesterday. The reason is this. South London is a catchment of lower to middle class society. Most of them are working class society, okay? But they have many activities in South London, right? But South London has one thing which is very attractive. A lot of people come out to play football in the streets. So you have many talents. And Crystal Palace is one of those clubs that go to the fans. They're very active in the community. They do many things. When they see people playing in the streets, they will go and engage the fans. They will create activities for these small groups. And people see that. Crystal Palace are very unique. Do you know that you can sponsor your own player in a club? If, for example, you're a club, and the sponsor has, I don't want to sponsor the team, I just want to sponsor Chen. Just one person in the team. You can. A sponsor can do that. They're very unique because it's one of those occasions. So you have to ask yourself, right?
那其实是球迷也是一般人，他们都是人类，他们每天才有各种选择，他们不一定要成为你的球队的支持者或粉丝，他们也可以选择去喝咖啡，他们可以选择去支持其他俱乐部或者去看棒球都可以。那重点是我们要怎么样去贩卖，把这俱乐部卖给球迷，这才是重点。例如说水晶宫为例嘛，水晶宫在南伦敦，但南伦敦的阶级很特别，它是比较中下阶级组成的，很多人在接到环球球，所以水晶宫是策略什么？直接走向球迷，你让球迷感觉到独特，而且你还可以选择赞助其中一个特定的球员而已。我不一定要选择赞助全队，我可以选择赞助特定的一位球员，让我球迷感到很我是在俱乐部里面有独特的位置。
I give you another example, Mauricio. In Thailand, right? I look after futsal, okay? And I created a futsal league, and so we have 16 clubs that play in the league, in the futsal league. To bring fans to the stadium for futsal is much harder than football. But we fill the stadium. Reason? We teach the clubs to do things which is more than futsal. For example, if you buy a ticket, if you buy a ticket to watch futsal, you can go and have a haircut free on a week, on a specific day, at a particular barber. And now, in the Thai Premier League, there is a club that also does it. If you buy a ticket to watch futsal on every third week, you can use that ticket and go to Tesco and get a discount or get a free ice cream. So you have to give something to the fan, that the fan feels that you are giving him more, because we are humans. We want more than we can give. We are all normal, okay? Humans in nature, always, we are takers. We like to take and take and take. So you have to give them so that they feel that they are getting more than the money that they pay. Sometimes the tickets are for free, but they still want to know, if I am going to come to your stadium and sit there, why should I do that? When I can sit in a cafe and have a coffee or a beer or whatever it is.
Yeah, I used to have this idea, but probably you cannot we don't have tickets, we cannot issue tickets here.
So basically you have to think of ways. Come to the stadium, not a ticket, maybe a little token, and that token can be redeemed somewhere. So that is the aspect of creative innovation, creativity of what you can do in your club, right? There are many best practice examples. If you look at American football, for instance, how many of you are familiar with American football? Do you know why most people go to American football? To eat sausage, hot dogs, and drink a lot of beer. A lot of beer, okay? People just drink and drink. They don't know what's happening, but they enjoy the beer, okay?
他在比赛球场，大家都不知道比赛都不知道比赛发生什么事，他只知道一件事，就是喝酒。
Is any possibility that AFC push CTFA to allow these things? For example, I wish this season I was trying to sell some food and drinks during our games, but it was they say not possible. So I wish maybe AFC talk with CTFA to promote this kind of activities. Can be possible for the.
I think in terms of like what AFC can do, I mean like Avi's over there, and I think there are many stuff that AFC is pushing in terms of encouraging the FAs and the member associations to do. But the club needs to come up with these ideas and take it to the CTFA to say, we're going to do this here. The other example, okay, in England, cricket. There is this thing called county cricket, okay? A county cricket match can go for 6 hours. And you know, at 6 hours, they never hit the ball. They miss every ball. They do not hit the ball. But you know what the fans do? They're still there. They're having a picnic in the sun and drinking a lot of beer, eating a lot of sandwich. That's what they do. That's what do people like to do? People like to eat. This is normal. I mean, but this is what they like to do. So you need to look at what people like, people, behavior, habits. You need to go to that, absorb that. Mauricio, you're from Colombia. I spent 6 weeks in Colombia at the Futsal World Cup. First thing I do in Colombia is I look at people's behavior. I see what they do. And there are many things maybe you can incorporate into your club. You are a unique character. You're a Colombian in Taiwan, which is unique. That's number one. Number two is you are a unique selling proposition to society here. Have you sold yourself to society here? does the media know in general that I am a Colombian, I am with the Red Lions, I'm going to bring parts of Colombia into Taiwanese football? Have you sold that? Have you sold Colombian lifestyle in Taiwan? So this is what the creative aspect needs to be. It is about everything we are. Okay? You need to look around because you are marketing people. You know, I talk about women's football, which I am so hot into these days because I think this is the moment. If tomorrow we are in this room, if tomorrow you go and sell a sponsorship to a Citibank, Standard Chartered Bank, and you say, come support my women's football, you think they're going to turn around and say, oh, no, I'm not into gender equality, I'm not into... They can't say that anymore, right? Use this moment to build. This is your opportunity. You are here. You are unique people because you have a unique ability, because you are responsible. No team is successful at the very top. Commercial, Japan, Korea, Saudi, all these big teams, they're not successful if their commercials are not successful. You have to remember that.
他记住就是说，所有俱乐部所有成功俱乐部他们的商业一定成功，你要想办法去贩卖出去你的俱乐部。例如说以红狮为例，有没有试着把你是哥伦比亚人的身份，还有在台湾有一支足球队这些东西去贩卖给你的赞助商，贩卖给你的球迷？那女子足球是一样，你们有把你们女子足球背后更重要的，例如说性别平权这些意识，还有未来庞大商机这些东西，去卖给你的赞助商。
Aren't you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I feel there is a big barrier here. One thing, I was trying to we play more games in Nigeria from the Tesla. We seldom play the games. Our games are far away from the game. Or fans, we don't have many fans, but even those fans that are very loyal, they cannot go to a game because they're far.
Okay. Then maybe you need to build more fans on social media. Build more fans outside. Like countries like Singapore, it's so small, clubs are so, they're not identifiable by location. So you need to sort of think, this is your barrier, but you need to be creative to build new fans. What do you do, new fans? I understand. Do you think that Liverpool Football Club only has fans in the city of Liverpool? How many of you are Liverpool fans in this room? Oh, very good. I'm very glad, because I'm an Arsenal fan. So we've been losing, so it's okay. But that's the thing, right? People are fans. You have to ask yourself why fans are fans. There is a reason. So you need to ask yourself.
Something I would like I feel in Taiwan, most people, even here, we know all about football, we are related to football somehow, and I think most of the people here don't really know much about what is football and love for football. And here, out of this room, people in Taiwan don't even know about football. So
Okay.
One idea, for example, what you say about a haircut, I think it's very good. I would like to hear more about these ideas to make people get engaged in football.
Right. Ideas. There's like an ideas bank. There are many ideas out there which you can pick up. But something you said earlier, Mauricio, and I'm going to tell all of you. When you sell, remember, you work in football clubs. But if you are going to sell only football, you're going to struggle. Okay? You are selling entertainment. You are selling engagement. You are dealing with consumers. Your fans are consumers. They are consuming your product. Your product, football is part of your product offering.
大家记得的是，各位在做这些事情的时候，你们 如果你们只是单纯的觉得说你们要把足球这项运动卖出去，那你们一定过得很好。但是你们要记住，你们卖的不只是足球，而是卖的是一项娱乐。球迷不只是球迷，他们是顾客。那足球只是他们，你的俱乐部足球这些只是他们向你购买的娱乐之中一部分而已。
Okay, so we'll come back to here. So the action plans, we talked about this. The action plans are all about installing, getting your asset register, build the sponsorship architecture. Sponsorship architecture means you have title sponsor, supporting sponsor, official partners, or you have presenting sponsor, title partner. So you have to ask yourself what your sponsorship architecture is going to be. Always ask yourself, in your club, do you have a sponsorship sales manager, or are you the sales manager? Sometimes sales and marketing are two different roles. Marketeers market, come up with ideas. Salespeople sell. So sometimes you need to look at dividing that role. You know, in many small clubs, obviously, the marketing manager sometimes also is a salesperson. Sometimes the secretary of the club, the president, is also selling. But you need to ask yourself, that's why I remember we talked about everyone aligns their role, everyone understands the same thing.
OK， 那我们在俱乐部的行动计划时候讲到，就是说要建构出俱乐部的赞助商分级，我们的 title sponsor， 我们的冠名赞助者，好 official partner 官方的赞助伙伴这些的，还有我们有那个专门的赞助商业务经理，而不是把它归到行销里，因为我们前面讲过说，我们要让每个人都了解到他们目标的时候，要明确的分工。
Right, so same.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
So you mentioned that sales and marketing are different. The size and the scope of the club locally. How do you think like which one is more important than the other when it starts?
Well, when you obviously you need to have the concepts, the ideas, the marketability of the product done before you sell. You can't sell if you don't have a product. Marketing products or products become marketable because you have good marketing people. They are able to do packaging. They are able to price it. They are able to create the promotion around it, right? So you need to have marketing before you sell. So there are many situations, associations where marketing and sales are one people or one group of people because of the size of the club. So it exists, but it is two specific roles, two different kind of roles.
那刚刚是问到说如何去区分说行销、marketing 跟业务这些的区别。那其实我们重点是业务是卖的是我们 marketing 行销部门创造出来的产品。行销部门会制定出这产品的价钱啊，然后确保这些东西在市场上卖得出去。那 sales 业务的部分就是卖出去。
如果有一个最重要的赞助商，他的赞助的金额的比例是非常大的，那当他要求球队做一些可能会影响到过去建立的球迷的事情的时候，比方说更改球队名称，那像遇到这种情况，大概是怎么样思考这个事情？
实际啊，这就不知道啊，目前的是几个？我记得都是。
Right. So you're saying the sponsor wants you to change your name?
Yes.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure in terms of regulatories in Chinese Taipei, the association, whether they allow things like this. So obviously it's got to do with regulatories as well. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, are there situations where clubs they don't change the names, okay? So we have a FC Barcelona, so they have a futsal team, okay? So every year they have sponsors. So what they do is every year they have a title sponsor with the name. So last year they were called Barca Lasa. Lasa is in Lasa Tires. So that's the club name. And they actually use that name in all their collateral. And if Barca Lasa is not the name, they cannot participate. So that's the thing there. So this year they have a new sponsor. They changed their name again. So it's Barca Django, I think. So it's another brand. So there are situations, but of course the team name still exists, but the sponsor name coexists with the team. So I don't know, Chen. I mean, like in Taiwan, the FA, are there situations where, let's say, Taco FC wanted to call themselves Taco? I don't know.
I think for his situation, it's quite unique because he's working with the city governments.
Right.
The city government is sponsored the team, he has to have the city's name on top.
Right.
So he gets his subsidies from the city. That's the regulation for them. Is that for us?
Right. Okay. So you are okay with that?
We're okay with that.
So you shouldn't participate.
OK，就是说第一个就是要确定，第一个就是要去 OK， 第二个就是确定说我们联赛是不是允许这样的冠名制度。第二个就是说，在以巴塞罗那的人士来讲，它是球队的名称跟着赞助商抬头是一起共存的。假设我今年是 FC Barcelona， 然后这个轮胎的厂牌名称，但是我隔年他不赞助，抽掉换其他厂品，他还是 FC Barcelona， 但是后面换抬头的名称，这个是一个方法。
如果他不同意这样子，他坚持只要他自己的。
No, but if you have sponsors who insist on that, you have to be able to say no to sponsors too. Saying no to sponsors is not a bad thing.
But if city government,
And their government, well, I mean, it's a question. If it's a government thing, it depends on the Chinese Taipei Football Association.
那就是说，如果遇到这种不合理要求的时候，要说不的要说不的勇气，因为其实像赞助商说不一定是一件坏事，但是如果遇到这种政府压力的话，其实就是要去寻求其他的方式。
Actually, it's a good problem. It's not a bad problem because you still get sponsored.
那其实再来可以来用，我们还是要赞助。
Thank you.
So in terms of, right, the whole budgeting process, come to that, right? To understand the budgeting process, you need to ensure that you have approval from senior management. You ensure that you have forecasted your revenues. You ensure that your finance department is able to populate the entire cost of the project. You make sure you have a resource analysis, meaning how many people are going to work on this project, how the project is going to be run. You need to ensure that you have final approval from your senior management and ensure that you have a financial management process, right? You can't, so when you sell a sponsorship, there is obviously a cost to every sales, right? To produce a fantastic video, you need to spend money to create a video. To create a beautiful presentation, you may need to spend money, but you need to manage that cost.
OK， 那就是说，我们在商业计划时候六步来定出我们的预算。第一个就是要资深的这个管理阶层要认同我们的商业目标。第二个就是说，我们要对我们商业这行销计划期间的财务要收入这些要明确的要预测。然后第三个就是说，要确保财务部门能够支持我们的计划，在这个过程之中的计划这些相关的活动和支出，然后要完整的现有的资源的分析和策略，然后还有最终要有资深的管理阶层去同意我们长期的这些计划支出，然后最后呢，要财务部门要有一个财务管理的计划来向我们的这个市场的行销部门有这个财务管理计划 要了解说他们怎么花这些钱，要怎么样投资。
Right. So what is the resource analysis? The resource analysis means it talks about people, okay? So you need to have the right people. And to have the right people means you have the staff. Make sure that your commercial people have the right training, right? Because you need to ensure that when everyone sells, when everyone speaks to a client, a sponsor, everyone will say the same thing.
OK， 那就是说，当我们在讲到这个分析的其实关系的是讲到我们会有工作人员，那有没有明确的训练，让他确保说我们每个出去谈的人，他们都在讲出的东西都是一致的。
Right? Use technology. Okay, very important. Okay, very, very important because in today's society, if you go into discussions with clients and you do not use technology, then you are actually off grid.
那知道善用科技，因为现在其实如果你没有善用这些科技带来的工具的话，当你们去跟客户去谈的时候，其实是直接 out 掉。
And make sure you plan. Right? It's very important that you plan so you have good people, train your people, make sure you use technology, and you have a plan.
然后最后是要有计划，要有一个明确的计划。
So that's the end of our first part. I think we're okay with time. Any questions? I'm pretty sure you have some questions, but I just have yeah, but I think in terms of Mauricio, I think he's asking for ideas. I think it's good. There are many ideas out there. I mean, perhaps we can talk separately, but feel free to share ideas. And remember, okay, in the world of ideas, most ideas are the same thing, but they are innovated. That means you change a little bit of the idea, you make the offering better, right? Like, this thing about the haircuts. When you really think about it, today everyone wants to have a cool haircut. But imagine if you can use your match ticket and get a haircut. It's quite unique, but you have to think what works. This is Taiwan is a place where people love to eat, or people love to go to cafes. So maybe there's a cafe culture. You can do something with the cafes, because for the cafes, I was sitting in a cafe across the road yesterday, and I realized that the clientele is actually not active. But the most people who come there sit there for a long time with one cup of coffee. But you as a club, you can help them. Imagine if people are seen to be going to buy cafes, even if they go out there and drink 2 or 3 coffees, right? At the end of the day, the cost for the cafe in terms of making a coffee is not really very high. But the more clientele creates more buzz. More buzz means more promotion opportunities for the cafe. So which means you can go to them. You can get maybe 50 free coffees from them and use that to trade on their fans. So there are many ideas you can actually do. Okay, so think about when you create the commercial plan, you have to have a process. The process is to understand that you need to have budgets, you need to have right people, you need to have an action plan, you need to have the commercial plan have a proper tactic that you will actually do it. You have to understand where you are, where you want to get to, how you're going to get there, make sure you have enough budget, and then you have to monitor. If you're not going where you're going, then you have to reevaluate, change, and go back to the right way.
OK， 那就是说我们刚刚谈到说，其实点子大家都是一样，但是当一些小变化就会让有些不同。例如说，去跟咖啡合作，去交换你的粉丝，因为其实如果一个人坐在咖啡厅喝2到3杯咖啡，坐一整天，其实对咖啡厅来讲帮助不大。但是我们有更好的方法可以去帮助到他们。那要记得就是说，我们前面讲到的，要有正确的商业的计划，要有预算的观念，还要了解我们现在在什么位置，在什么高度，我们希望达到什么样的高度，这些的，然后要有正确的人员这些的。各位要去思考这些。
Right. And then, in certain cultures, you will realize that some people don't go to, they don't like to watch football, right? Because they think football is all about men. So you need to create an environment for families, children to turn up in the stadium.
那在有些地方的话是说，认为足球只是专属男人的运动，所以 但是要去改变这个文化，就是说吸引家庭、吸引小孩这些人一起去参与足球。
Right. In the 1980s in England, only men go to football stadiums.
那在英格兰1980年代是只有男人会去球场。
Right? Because in the 1980s, the 70s and 80s, only men without shirt, fat, with beer in their hand, they go to the stadium and they watch football. And all of them fight in the stadium.
那在球场，在70到80年代，英格兰就是只有穿着球衣，然后啤酒肚，然后手上拿着一杯啤酒的这些男人才会去球场，然后在球场就会直接打起来。
Right? What has changed now? So all the stadiums are sitting, right? So people can sit and they're comfortable. And there is no, everyone who comes outside has only got a plastic cup. But they go back inside. It's comfortable. It's safe. You create. So what they've done in England is to create a safe environment. They create a comfortable environment. They make it easy for families to come. They make it such that everyone can come and watch football and enjoy themselves. If you go to a match in Division 4, right, it's still the same. Because they make it like that. Okay? You know, I'll tell you something. There's a football club in England called Bury FC, B-U-R-Y FC. Every year when they launch their new jersey, they get the sexiest girls, right? And they paint their bodies with the new jersey colors. And they launch the new jerseys. They have more hits for this than any of the top clubs when they launch their jerseys. It's incredible because everyone wants to watch their launch. Everyone will queue to get a ticket to watch their new launch. It's unique, right? But, I mean, it's allowed in that culture, but you have to think what you can do here. So, create that commercial plan, right, in such a way that you will have something to sell. Okay? We'll take a quick break and then we start part 2.
那刚刚就讲到说英格兰后来做的什么改革？第一个就是球场是全座型，然后坐着至少你坐着看球是舒服，然后第二个就是你出来之后你只有一个塑胶杯而已，你进去里面你也可以去喝，但是你出来就是一个塑胶杯。那这些改变让英格兰球场变成说是一个是每个人都可以在这球场里面享受到他享受到的东西，那每个家庭也可以，家庭也比较容易进入球场，小孩子也比较容易进入球场看球。那最重要就是说要创意，那像英格兰的 Bury FC， 他们每年的球衣发售的点击率比其他同时期发表新一季球衣的球队还要高。为什么？因为他们选择用性感模特，然后人体彩绘方式来球衣。当然这是在英格兰的文化是允许这么做，但是在台湾你们要去找出属于你们自己的方式，把你们自己的球队给卖出去。
Okay, we'll tell you 10 minutes break. We'll start again.
那我们稍微休息10分钟。
Yes, sure.
Sorry， 有个问题，我们刚刚其实一开始就有提到说，我们要让俱乐部每一个人都有同一个 vision。但是在台湾，最好的球员，他们的机会会很多。那其中一个最大的机会是去学校当老师，所以很多很优秀的球员，他们的愿景都不会跟俱乐部结合，而是在他自己能够去当老师的规划上面。那我不晓得国外有没有一些类似的状况，以及怎么来面对跟处理。
They just want to be a teacher. So if there are similar situations in other countries, something like that.
Then in some countries, right, where football is not 100% professional, yes, this exists because there are a lot of leagues like Singapore. There are leagues like in Cambodia where football is not 100% professional. So obviously this problem still exists, but as professionalization changes, that changes. So they will change. It's an interesting point, okay, but let me explain to you a real life example. Olympic Lyon. You know Olympic Lyon?
Yeah.
Okay. Women's football, okay? Olympic Lyon. Over the last 6 years, they've been in the Champions League of women's football out of the last 6 years 5 times. Okay? And, over the last 6 years they've been in the final 6 times and won it 5 times. Okay? Before this 6 years, okay, 10 years before, Olympic Lyon, women's football, were always the bottom. Okay? The change happened when there was a professionalization of women's football or Olympic Lyon, meaning that the players, the women's football players, became full-time professionals. So they trained in the morning, had good food, they, someone looked after the children, so they could be professionals. So once they became professionals, that changed. So the trigger is the professionalization of the game changed them. So if you look at all of the things that have happened, all of the teams in the World Cup that have done well, right, are teams where football has become professionalized. That's the difference. So in countries where football is still semi-professional, there's still a struggle. Some people, you may say, oh, what about Iceland? All the players in the Icelandic national team are professionals. Okay? So, there is that thing.
OK， 那其实在职业化还没有完全成熟的国家，例如说新加坡、柬埔寨这些地方，这种情况的确是存在。但是随着职业化的进程，这些情况会逐渐改善。那Olympic Lyon来讲，他们在过去6年的冠军联赛之中是6年都进，然后6年5冠的成绩。但在这6年之前，他们是在联赛的底段。那为什么会让他们瞬间从6年前跟6年后的成绩不同？因为他们完全的职业化。他们球员有完整的早上开始训练，然后有人负责帮他们带小孩，有完整的饮食计划。那在女子世界杯的球队也是一样，他们各个国家也是一样有这样的职业过程。对，有一个完整的职业化程度。那大家可能会讲冰岛例子，但其实冰岛的所有的国家队的球员都是职业球员，只是他们不在冰岛踢球而已。
Thank you. Yeah.